If the loader on your tractor won't move, there's some things you can check before calling up a mechanic, because there's nothing worse than spending $1,000 and 2-3 weeks waiting for somebody to look at it, only for them to go, oh yeah, it was just a 5-minute fix. No big deal. That'll be $1,000, please. So if this loader's stuck in the up position and you go wiggle this stick and it won't drop even with the tractor turned off, there is a number of things it could be. But you want to make sure you turn your tractor off before you try any of this stuff, because when this loader drops, it'll drop with much vigor sometimes. Not so much vigor in this case, but it is what it is. Anyway, so we'll just pretend that loader's still stuck up in the air. So we're going to start at the control stick here and just kind of work our way forward on the tractor for some reasons that we see these things not wanting to move. Starting with this control stick, if you're kind of new to tractors, maybe you don't know it because nobody told you, but this stick is often going to have a float mode in it. So you see how it's moving really easy right now? If you press and then press one more time, this stick's locked and you might not think it'll move, and then the loader won't move. This float mode basically just forces this thing to stay on the ground, ideally when you're driving backwards to help you smooth out your driveway or something. So feel free to take this guy and just pop it backwards. Make sure this thing isn't stuck in float. While you're jiggling this stick around, making sure it does move in all directions, again with the tractor turned off for goodness sake, and nobody under the loader, look for something like this. Now it may be a lever, it may be a silver pin, something like that. This is a transport lock. The idea being on a transport lock that it locks this thing so the stick won't move when you're transporting the tractor somewhere. And if you're being really dumb and working under the hood with the loader above your head, ideally this would lock out your loader control so your neighbor, when he comes over, doesn't lean on this thing and drop the loader on your head. So make sure this lockout lever isn't in the lockout position so your lever can move. Now, something else we can check is getting in underneath this boot into the controls that move the loader itself. You're going to have some sockets and balls under here that move and make this stick control the hydraulics that move the loader. You can certainly take this boot off and check if you want. They might have got rusted, they might have got, a bunch of gunk in them, they might have got destroyed. So feel free to take all that off and check, but you might want to check a couple other things first. One of them being my favorite problem we see, which is the quick disconnects here. I see all the time people's loaders not want to move because one of these just got slightly detached, and it might not look like it when you're looking at your loader hydraulics here, but if one of these is just slightly pulled back like a stick hit it or something, we're not able to complete that hydraulic circuit, this loader isn't going to want to move. So just disconnect every one of these. So this one doesn't want to move very much because it's under pressure, but disconnect and reconnect all of these hoses and just see if maybe that's your problem. These just not having a good connection. While you're doing it, go ahead and check all your hose connections and see if you see any signs of dripping. Follow these hoses all the way up on the loader. There's a lot of them. Just see if we see any leaks going on here. Because what will happen is if we've got a leak on here, it'll make it so you can't get sufficient pressure for this loader to move. So let's check all of our hydraulic fittings, connections, and hoses and see if there's a leak in one or one that's disconnected that's preventing your loader from moving. Now, another thing you can check, and you should check, is check your records. When's the last time you greased your loader? I have seen it before where these pins, these rotation points that you're supposed to be greasing every 10 hours of loader use, have froze up. They've just gotten so rusted or full of grime inside that pin that the loader just wouldn't move. So at that point, what can you do? You can try putting some grease through them and getting this thing maybe to loosen up enough to move. I've seen these loaders start to move real slowly because they haven't been greased sufficiently. But if you're to that point, you might need some extra help just to have something grab onto this loader and move it to get those grease through the pins, or your pin might be so frozen inside of here, it might have welded itself together. There is a chance that that's happened. So, but hey, just check. Have you greased these things lately? May as well do it now. You ain't doing nothing with your tractor anyway because your loader won't move. Now, I guess you can also check to make sure you do in fact have hydraulic fluid in your tractor. Maybe we should have brought that up at the start. Where do you check that hydraulic fluid? If you don't know, it's on the back of your tractor. So we're looking for something like this right here. This is the dipstick for our hydraulic fluid. All of your hydraulic fluid on most modern tractors goes in the rear end. That hydraulic fluid feeds everything. It feeds your transmission, your loader, your steering, your brakes, your 3-point, all of it feeds off of that rear end. So if you don't have any fluid in there, we probably got a pretty big problem because you shouldn't be losing fluid. But feel free to refill that fluid, and I bet your loader will start working if it was empty. While you're doing that, maybe figure out why you're missing fluid. Crawl up underneath your tractor, see if any of your hydraulic filters or something got blasted off, and correct that. But for the time being, if you just need to refill your hydraulic fluid back there, and then all of a sudden your loader started working, at least you can get this thing out of the way. All right, that is about it. If your loader ain't working after doing all that, then maybe it is time to call up your local tractor mechanic so you can pay him a couple $1,000 to go, yeah, gee, I don't know. That's all I got. We'll see ya.